customers are less tolerant than they were pre-pandemic. And what I mean by that is that we're seeing that there's almost a 10% increase in customers willing to switch brands for a sub-satisfied experience. And customers are open to experimentation. We saw that with the pandemic. There was so much more use of digital. There were so many different avenues in which customers were engaging, shopping, and with all of that, they were now looking at more options and things that they could do, which just led to this. I wouldn't call it lack of loyalty, but more openness to move. What do we see on the other side is that from a brand perspective, there's a lot of focus now on building trust with those customers. The trust exists at multiple levels. From a brand perspective, what are your values? How do you set up as a brand? How do you engage and maintain that trust with the customer across that entire experience? And even things like data, and you hold that data of the customers. So how do you make sure you keep that trust going? Is kind of the other side of it, which we're seeing is happening post-pandemic.
If you talk to the accountants around the floor, money going out the door is not necessarily a good thing. But the reality is money going out the door is a great thing. And whenever you sign up for a program, whenever I sign up for a program, all of our members sign up. They don't sign up for a program because they want to earn points or they want to earn status or they want to earn something else that gives them some intangible thing. They sign up for a benefit. They sign up for a free flight. They sign up for an experience. They sign up for something that they would otherwise not get as a result of that transaction. And so we take the view that we're experience-led. We're redemption-led. And if we can deliver a great customer experience, we're confident that the member will come back and spend with our coalition partners, fly with us on the airline. And we think it's great. So the more seats we can make available, the more experiences we can make available, more things that are more tailored and relevant and accessible for them, brilliant. It takes a little while to get our finance team across the line on that one, but we did get them there eventually.
For customers, if you ask them, why do you sign up for a loyalty program? It's always for a monetary benefit that they get, which is the number one reason, but very quickly followed by just experiences. And I think that's fantastic because that's really where we see a lot of businesses now focusing as well.
Absolutely. No, it's a great, we often give people the choice and inevitably somebody say, oh, it's irrational to do this or do the other thing because why would you do it? It's terrible now. You always go for the cash and do something like that. But the reality is people sign up for these things because they want a treat. They want a benefit. They want something that they couldn't otherwise get or that they wouldn't necessarily go out and pay for. And so if we can deliver something that's really, really meaningful for them, then we're pretty happy with that outcome.
Reward innovation is definitely right up there. I think another one which, and Jason, you'll probably attest to this one as well, is just multi-brand ecosystems where people are looking at their partnerships differently. It's no longer about, we run and operate our brands and programs in silos, but really how do you start expanding that and bringing on the right partners that can fit both strategically and tactically into what you're trying to do. Strategic partners are more, the bigger partnerships that you have, maybe fewer in number, that you drive a different kind of value exchange with. Whereas tactically, you're looking at, more earn and burn extensions of, what you're doing within your program and how you drive that. So that's kind of the two things that we're really seeing happening out there.
Fundamentally, if you distill the business back down to its essence, it's a Virgin branded business, right? Virgin has a special place in the heart of many people around the world, and in Australia is no different. So if you start with a brand that has innovation, experimentation, fun, cheekiness at its heart, then you're naturally just going to get a whole bunch of people that are interested in that sort of program. And so if we can embed those brand attributes into the program, then we're pretty confident we're going to do all right.
I remember when it first came, it was just a breath of fresh air compared to what came before it.
travel loyalty, I think the loyalty programs are really the lifeblood for a lot of travel businesses, and Collinson is also in a travel business ourselves when we run the Priority Pass program. Loyalty programs are really the cornerstone that kept things going, and there are two reasons that I believe really worked well, and what the brands did really well. One is, of course, what I just spoke about with partnerships, right? So you don't have the ability now to travel, you're not earning or redeeming as much as you would have liked as a customer, but just keeping the partner ecosystem and the co-brands alive and really driving a circulation of the currency, even when you couldn't travel, helped, because that helped customers on the redemption side that may want to take their points and bank them for everyday benefits with changes in costs. It helped on the earn side where customers that were looking at accumulating points that they could redeem in a future travel situation also helped. So I think that was a really smart way and a really strong way of building and running the programs. The other thing I thought which travel brands did really well was status extensions. We've all probably have been in that where 2, 3, 4 years you've been able to maintain the status that you've had, and it's good, right? Because you didn't have the eligibility, you weren't able to qualify for that status in the situation that was there. What happens going forward? The great reset, as people are terming it. That'll be interesting to see, and there are a lot of hard deadlines that are now coming in place. It'll be interesting to see what happens, especially to the top 10% that really make up the core members. But yeah, I think that was a smart strategy, and these two things probably worked really well through the pandemic. Acquisition metrics that you track from a loyalty perspective, it's related to the growth of your data, the quality of the data you're getting, how many members do you have, how many are active, and so on and so forth. Then there are retention metrics, which are more getting into the value side of it in terms of spend, frequency, what is the mix between members versus non-members as it comes to utilization of services, space, seats, and so on. And then there are engagement metrics, right, which is really where you start looking at how well are members engaging with the program. It could be things like breakage, which is a very common term where you look at are your benefits being utilized. The more they're being utilized, the better it is, as Jason also said at the start. So it's just looking at things like that, looking at how members interact with the rest of your program. If you have tiers in your program, what is the distribution across those tiers, and is it efficient, and how you go about looking at those things. But really, those are the three buckets in which broadly slot the metrics, and then of course industry level nuances where you can look at ADRs and so on if you're in the hotel industry, or other metrics in airlines.
There's a lot of things that are in the pipeline. We are very fortunate to have the ability to invest in the customer experience. We're very fortunate to be working in a part of a broader group, broader Virgin ecosystem, if you will, that allows us to do a lot of really interesting things with the brand. So we're really looking forward to delivering some really interesting and innovative experiences going forward. But fundamentally, as I said before, the Virgin brand is about testing and experimentation and throwing some things out there. Some of it will work, some of it won't, and that's okay. Our members expect that from us. And so we're going to keep putting things out there, and we're pretty confident that some of them are going to be really exciting and really interesting, and most importantly are going to be really a lot of fun for our members. So we're really looking forward to what the future holds.
Cool. Well, I'm one of your biggest fans, so no, I actually am.
If you put this into ChatGPT, it gives you a really accurate list of things, which is probably very common, right? The top 3 ones, and this is not from ChatGPT, but from our own research. The first one is really personalization. And I know personalization has been a trend for a long time. It's always been trending. We still talk about it as a trend. But I think what makes it trend is what underlies personalization. It's not about having names on emails. That's not personalization. But really underlying that is predictive analytics and next best decisioning. right? And if you can really get those right, and there's so much innovation from a data and tech perspective that's happening in that space, which is why personalization will keep coming up because there's just so much more that's happening, AI, and I mean, there's lots there, right? So that's one. The second thing that we see happening is paid or subscription programs. There's a lot more emphasis on pay-for-play kind of programs that is out there. So subscription-based or paid loyalty is becoming more popular. There's also a bit of conditioning that's leading to that. So your Amazon Primes and so on, they've set a certain expectation with customers, and other brands are able to follow that with obviously the value proposition that you need to deliver for that. So that's a key second trend that we would see out there. For customers, travel really sits up there, and as part of the research we did, people were willing to forego gym memberships, their spend on dining. They were willing to forego subscription services to keep their travel budget intact, and with that, the travel benefits that they get from it. From a Collinson perspective, we run the Priority Pass program, which we've been doing for the last 30 years, but really where we're going is to own the travel ecosystem. And as part of that, it's really the summation of multiple different experiences that start from when you start planning your trip all the way to going on your trip and then back. And all of those different moments is what we're as Collinson are working to pull together to create a premium experience for those travelers. Now, that premium experience gets delivered through benefits, which are part of loyalty programs. It gets delivered as rewards that can be embedded into your loyalty programs and so on. So what we're really looking at is to take that entire ecosystem and bring it to loyalty program and loyalty program providers and embed that into your programs to really unlock that high perceived value that travel has with customers.
Our data suggests that's exactly right. We see very, very limited change in behavior going forward in terms of travel. There's an awful lot of pent-up demand that people are just really keen to get out there. Notwithstanding the cost of living pressures that are coming our way, or that are here actually, if people can swap or trade down a little bit, they'll do that. But they're not going to give up visiting their friends and their relatives and their family after all the lockdowns and after all the trauma over the past few years.